Welcome to the Realm Talk, or the Real Talk. You can call it whatever you want. We kind of like the wordplay ourselves. As last time, today with me is Claustro from PMP from Destro side. Hello, Claustro. Welcome.
Good evening, everyone.
And also from the Order side, we had Bombling from the 7th
Hey, what's
Legion. Patch notes from Saturday, guys. Main update and regarding a lot of the sieges. We're gonna get into that in a minute. So let's start by asking you guys a question. How many of you did the cities? How many of you enjoyed it? What happened? You got something to tell us? Did you like it? Did you do a lot? How do you think about the queuing system? How did it go? Give us some food for thought here. Until you guys think and type all that, let's see what else we got here. Guys, how about until the guys type something and think about it? How about this 2 times weekend? I have a question for both of you. My question is, although we all love 2 times event, of course, do you think it came on the right time, Claustro? I mean, it was a weekend, but the cities came as well, and people were really into it. Do you think that helped people level up, or did it come in on the wrong moment?
I think it's both good and bad. Good because it's gonna drag more players to the game, and with new content like this, it's always good with new players and returning players coming back. And the negative part is the server gets crowded, and it's hard to push to this new content with 500-600 people in the lane.
Yeah, funny you mentioned the server. We'll talk about this in a minute as well. I think a lot of people might have something to say about what happened on Sunday. We'll get into that. Bombling, what do you think? 2 times event came on the right time or the wrong time?
Ooh, is there ever a wrong time for a 2 times event? I think many of us like to really exploit the fact that we get double renown and double experience to level up new characters or finish renown ranks on characters we have like shelved for a little bit.
Yeah.
So in that sense, I think it's good to have the 2 times event. I don't think we should have them too often because I expect that we see the week after a 2 times event, it's going to be people are not feeling the same drive. So maybe that's a good thing. I can't really put my finger on if this is a good or bad time for a 2 times event.
I personally think it was a little bit of a bad time because with the cities, most people wanted to push for the cities with the big levels, the 80s, 82s, 78s, instead of utilizing that for more characters and we have more variability. Because when people have more characters, they can do more character exchange on the war bands, build them better. Sometimes when you don't have a lot of people. No, this is Bombling and Claustro. Nath is
There's
not
also
here.
Nat come into the channel. So hey Nat, how's your
Oh, Nat came in?
I am here.
Oh, there he is. Oh, yes. Guys, just a small parenthesis. Welcome, Natherul, first of all. If you see underneath here, where is it? Here, right? On this side of the screen, I'm pointing. Whenever somebody talks, you can see our names highlight now. It's a new feature from the last one. I've managed to do that, so you can see who's talking. Okay, we've done the 2 times event now. We talk about this. All right, major update is the cities. So last week before the patch, cities were on a cooldown of 12 hours, and that was pretty much the whole mechanism. Now, going into the patch notes, the major part of it, I'm just going to scroll quickly. As you can see, there's a lot for the cities. So we're going to start with that one, and we'll go down as we do every Monday. So cities now can change. The city rating will increase over the following time period. So from 1 star to 2, 12 hours, 2 to 3, 16, and so on, up to 5 stars in 24 hours. So, Bumbling, what are you thinking about this? Is it a good thing now that cities ranking? Does that
First
help?
of all, I'm glad to see the city stars actually matter because the first week we had city sieges, both of the cities were constantly just at 5 stars and it didn't really matter. It's a fun fact that it kind of forces a little bit of realm pride into you don't want to see your capital city go down to 1 star or lose stars if you lose the instances. So it's more of like a unity feeling on the realms now because your instance is going to contribute into the big pool of if you win or lose. It didn't really matter on the first week, so that's a really nice addition. I can see what they're trying to do with this patch. It seems to me like they are trying to limit that you're not just giving up all your zones and just going in and defending your city and only fighting in the city, but they're kind of trying to force some fights in the zones before that, and I like that.
Claustro, what are you thinking about it?
Yeah, I like it. Is it perfect? I don't know. I don't have a solution for it either, but I like the fact that this will swing the tiers back and forth. I believe what we saw earlier today, where we had IC last night and an Altdorf this morning, that's going to occur more often instead of only going to be Altdorf, Altdorf, or IC. So it's going to be back and forth like this for sometimes, hopefully.
Well, the back and forth is good. I've also noticed another thing, because we will see it later on down the patch notes. Most of you have read them anyways, but the stars also control the amount of reward you get, and that makes sometimes people thinking, well, let's not push for the city right now because it doesn't have enough stars. Although the ones affected more are the defenders, so I think that also gives another what's the word, more motivation for the people to defend their own cities. Because if you attack a city with 1 star, then if you lose your scenario, you get 0 rewards. So I'm coming back to what Bombling said about the unity. People now say, okay, not just give the map and go and do it to get the crest, because we're not going to get them. We need to defend this and push forward, buy time to rank up. And I think that's a good thing. So you guys think that's going to change the way the guilds and the warbands play? Like time it to get the stars up, then attack, wait, grind. What do you think, Bumbling?
Ooh, it's such a hard system to fine tune because there's always going to be loopholes and there's always going to be like gentlemen's agreements, I would almost call them, between the two realms. Like if IC is 5 stars, unless there's some massive realm pride on Destro, they can see a big benefit of letting Order kind of push towards IC and go in and reap the rewards of having these massive bonuses. Even if they lose the stages, they get a lot of Royal Crest for losing. So I don't know.
Claustro, what do you think about the whole thingy?
Hopefully there won't be any gentleman's agreement like that, but I get the point. And as long as a small minority of the realm wants to throw, the ones who actually want to play the game can't hold against these numbers that we have seen in the leagues recently. I think it was Friday or whatever when the PMP and FMJ tried to hold was it Elf Calidor? But in the end we had too many throwers, so we couldn't really stand up, and it got to the IC the first time. It was Friday, was it? Yeah. So I get the points, but hopefully we get some realm prime that we're just gonna play the game as intended, do our best out there, and this game ain't all about the loot. It's coming anyway.
Yeah, I mean, the loot, the more you play, the more you get. So from what you're saying, you think that the server is going towards a little bit more now with the cities into realm pride, which
Hopefully.
I can't say it's a bad thing. I've always been calling for it. So we'll see. Yes.
To be honest, the first week we had some disputes on Destro Realm side. Some people wanted to throw, others didn't want to, and it's kind of separated the two factions within Destro. We got the throwers and we got the defenders, and no one was correct, and no one had the best argument for why we should hold or why we should throw, and those kind of arguments doesn't belong in the game, in my opinion. It's weird that they occur, but I understand why they occur, because people want to play and people want the gear, and sometimes it's colliding between the two of them.
Well, Bombling, I will give you to speak in a second. I just want to say one thing on this, that we've noticed the same thing, at least I did. I hope Bombling too, the whole splitting you're talking about. And I'm just going to say that there's a certain amount of people playing the game and their only purpose is to get gear. Once they do, they feel that they finish the game and they stop. I think those are the people that really want to gear quickly rather than anybody else. Bombling, a few thoughts for you on this topic to move on after that. What do you think about?
We definitely see the same on order side as Claustro just expressed from Destro point of view, that the realm is kind of divided in two camps. They got the people that is like, yeah, we want to get our contribution in the fort, but we are going to play left-handed. I use that term a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Where, yeah, we are maybe not organizing and not super try-harding. We're trying to get our kills. We're trying to see how long we can last, but it's not the end of the day if we lose the fort. And then you have other people who are really try-harding, really trying to rally the realm, and you get some conflict in the realm chats, and that's a shame.
It is. It is. I mean, the whole point of the game is play at your best of your ability for your side, and don't let everybody take your city. That's how I see it. But we'll see how it's going to develop. It's still week 2, if I'm not mistaken, on the cities. There's still more things to come, I think, as far as like balancing and stuff goes on. So let's move a little bit further down the patch notes. So the next time is a next city rating will be displayed when you hover over the city on the world map. That is a good feature that's been added. Now we know when the city is going to be ranked. We know how to deal with the loot and everything. So uh, some sort of planning can happen, between when and what. So Aldorf and the Netherul city have been set rating of 3, which increases at 6 p.m. So we know when we start. So we'll see how that's going to work. The lockout of the city seats has been lowered to 8 hours. So we have 2 mechanisms now, guys. Besides the ranking, also the lock is lowered. And that is good because 12 hours is too much. And it was a problem, especially for EU times. The population is big. When the instances of a city siege has finished, the winning realm will be decided by how many instances have been won. If defenders win the city, will decrease by 2 ranks, from 4 to 2, for example. If attackers win the city, it will decrease to rank 1 regardless of the previous rank. So this mechanism for me, guys, is quite important because I don't like seeing Aldorf playing Order more on rank 1. I hate it, I want my city to be 5 stars. And this is where the realm pride comes in that we all talked about, because the winning, it depends on every single one of us, Order and Astro, how that's going to play out. We all need to put our best play in win those instances. I think this is an addition for gathering up the realms to its side. So, Bombling, what do you think about this? You think that's going to help the whole pride thingy with the ranks, and everybody needs to win to help their sides?
Whenever the smell of new car and the excitement of the new gear is gonna drop down a little bit, and things are gonna stabilize, especially after the 2 times event, everything is just accumulating right now into like a lot of hype. When things calm down, I think we will see like some back and forth, even like some days where we don't have city sieges. I think that might become the norm. So yeah, I think the run pride is gonna maybe increase a little bit in the future.
Increase a little bit. Okay, I like that. Claustro, what do you think about the Destro side? How do they feel about the stars on the city?
I think we can agree with Bombling. It's about not seeing your capital being smashed into bits and being down to 1 star. Hopefully it will help with the realm pride a bit. But you also never know when more and more gear comes on our tunes. I don't know. Perhaps we're gonna get more sieges or less sieges. Yeah, the time will tell.
Okay. Well, it's still early though. Still, things still fluent and change, and also the 2 times event usually brings more people in. So we'll see, because the population does play a role, I think, to how fast or slow you can get into a city.
Just quick remark here.
Yeah.
So after we successfully sieged IC, and IC was it 5 stars yesterday? Anyone remember?
So say
It
that
was,
again.
yes.
What, was it 5 stars IC or was it 4 stars?
5.
Oh,
It was
5.
So yeah, we successfully on order side sieged IC and drained from 5 stars down to 3. And I tried to host a little roleplay event in Altdorf on the city square afterwards, where we took all the leftover fireworks from our vaults and started shooting fireworks in celebration on order side. It's like a little fun event. People get together, and a few people attended, so that was nice for the realm.
Yeah, I mean, we do need that. I think the realm's been too soloist. Everybody was playing alone. I think this will bring people together, and this game is all about people.
Wait,
Yes.
did you guys celebrate when you lost the siege?
No, we successfully attacked I
Okay,
see.
okay,
And
that's good
bring
enough
it
for you.
from
Okay,
5
I
stars
see.
to 3, and we celebrate.
Fair enough.
That's how it was on live. Yeah, Tuki here says maybe with 1 star you can do city dungeons. Um, I don't think you can do city dungeons anyways. If the city starts under siege, but if you are in one, you can complete it because it's a different instance. Then you are
I
kicked out.
think
What he means is that on live, if your city became 1 star, even if it wasn't under attack anymore, you couldn't do a city dungeon.
Oh,
That's nothing that we're really interested in adding because it's unnecessarily punishing players. It has nothing to do with the campaign, really.
okay. But I'm correct though. If you're already doing a dungeon, let's say sewers or city on Aldorf, and it becomes under attack, you are not kicked out of your dungeon. You can finish it because it's a different instance, though, right now?
Well, I'm not going to say 100% because you put me on the spot on something that I do not know from the top of my head, but
Okay,
I'm fairly
fair
sure that
enough.
if you're already inside, you won't get kicked out. However, of course, you cannot enter one because
Yeah,
your city is
yeah. You
attacked.
can enter, but sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the spot. But I'm gonna verify it does happen because it happened to me on sewers, so it's not kicking you out. Have
what were
a
you doing in the sewers?
long story, man. Long story.
Fair enough.
Hiding from the siege, aren't you?
No, we didn't know if he's gonna end up in a city seed. So I was on my sword master trying to level him. He's level 17. Somebody said, "Come and do sewers with us. We need a tank." It was late, like 1 o'clock in the morning. I went. Then the city happened, and then anyways,
Fair enough.
long story. Moving on with the patch notes there. Base quest rewards for city sieges are now dependent on the city's rating. That's what we said. I heard the bombing from the surface. So if you are defending a city rating of 5, you'll get a minimum reward of 2 royal crests per stage. If you are participating in the city siege with a rating of 1, you will save nothing. So the stars are important, guys. So, and I'm saying this because we had a situation where Destro was attacking and people were screaming, let them go through so we can do the city. With this system and 1 star, that would be not an advantage of us. So before you start screaming into region, make sure you read the patch notes and how mechanics work.
I have one concern with
yes.
this line of patch notes. Since there will only be as many instances as there is defenders. If the defenders feel like they are unorganized and their POC warbands are not able to win the stage, and they know that if they queue up, they will get nothing because it's a 1-star city they're defending. And if they start losing and they just leave, I wonder if that's going to be a trend. So I'm a little worried about that, but
Well,
I like that there's not going to be rewards for just automatically throwing the city.
true, but you don't get the rewards if you lose. So
Yeah, so for example, if I'm in a POC order warband and I defend my rank 1 city and I face a Destro Primate and we just get farmed in stage 1 and I'm like, okay, there's no chance winning this, I'm just going to log out. I think that might be something we will see, and I'm a little bit worried.
Oh, you mean that way? Okay, because I was going to say you can't tell if you're going to end up with a pre-minute, so you have to queue up. But I'm assuming people can leave if they want. Now that could be an issue. That could be an issue. But I don't think we're going to see a lot of stage. I don't think we're going to see a lot of defenses on 1-star. Because people know that, they're not going to allow it. And I think this mechanism is there to tell you, you know what, you're not going to get anything. Try and defend it, and you get your renown from the defense. So there is a counterbalance there, but it's still early. We need time to see how that's going to play out.
Absolutely.
If you win a city states, the amount of royal crests you get will depend on the city rating. Okay, we've said this, we've explained this. Tier PCs no longer drop from gold bags, at least until when sur contribution is stable. I think that hurted a few people. What do you guys think? Claustro? People got pissed off about this?
Yeah, of course. Especially the first week when the DPSs won everything. But we try to be calm and just say the gear is gonna come over time anyway. As long as we have Destro players and other players winning the gear, we all can compete on towards each other. So it's all good in the end, even though some classes got more gear than.
well, you get the crash. The fights are good on the cities, so I think we're good so
Yeah.
far. Bombling, what do you think about this? What did you perceive the realm doing about this change?
So as a DPS player, I definitely benefited from getting overly generous contribution in the first week until the hotfix, and afterwards I haven't gotten any backs. I've been very unlucky on my RNG rolls on the backs. I got up to 15 back rolls in a row where I rolled less than 250 on the RNG roll. That's pretty
Wow.
unlikely. As for the contribution and not having gear in the backs, I think it's nice to take the gear out because the contribution was just feeding too many bags into people getting too much contribution. So until it's fixed, it makes sense, but I hope to see the gear back in soon when contribution is fine and even and fair.
Yeah, I just would I just hope that they're gonna look into this quickly, because people definitely like the bags. The bag system was always good. Everybody loved it. You know, it's like a little cherry on the top. When you close them up, yeah, got a bag. You know, something like that. People like it.
Another thing with this is when you're losing and if you win a bag, you can actually get more crest even if you lose because the winners are not getting gear in their bags. So for example, if I'm on the losing team but I win like 1 or 2 bags, I might get more crests on average than any of the winners if they don't get any. So it feels a little weird actually just not having the carrot with having the gear
Yeah.
in the winning side.
It will come. It will come. Just it's a good thing. I mean, I'm happy when I see the dev team identifying issues and trying to resolve them as soon as possible. I think that's an emergency measure, and it's going to go away. And I'm saying this so people don't get disappointed. No bags. You know, it's coming. It's private server, still alpha stage, so we're going to have these issues. But we do have a little yes.
I just wanted to add that, of course, we're trying to look into it as fast as we can. There are some small things that we already identified and are rectifying. Our current idea, though this might change, but we might tie the loot in the bags to the city stars as well. So if you have enough stars on the city that's being sieged, then you can get stuff from the bag's actual loot. Otherwise, it will just be tokens.
Okay.
Okay, that actually makes sense.
We'll see how that's going to play out. That's why Nath is here to clarify things for us.
Yeah, and I would like to add one
Yes, of
thing
course.
to Natherul. Depending on how long this change will take, perhaps the gold bags at the moment should have a few more royals because perhaps I'm winning a gear that could be worth about, let's say, 40 royals, and at the moment I can only win 5, for example, for the winning. It feels that I'm missing so much compared to what I could have won. So perhaps as a bonus, just for the time, throw in some more. But yeah, I don't know. It's up to you guys.
Okay. We do have a few things on the chat. Let me catch up with it a little bit. Overpowered says, and that's to the previous little talk we had, that because of the 1 star, no one will want to RVR until it's 3 stars or higher and it kills RVR. And it's not like all of us can play this game 24/7. So what do you think, Claustro? Does the stars kill the RVR? People are waiting for the stars, then they jump in. Have you noticed that at all on your side?
I wouldn't say that the stars is the issue. I would say the city siege is the issue, and it was on live as well when we're closing up to the ending forts or to the city. More people will log on. And they will do that even though there's 1 star, 2 stars, or 5 stars. The closer we are to a city, the more players will.
The more players will come in. Bombling, have you noticed this kind of behavior on order? Like people don't PvP or RVR until the stars are there for them to move forward.
I mean, I can use myself as an example. I used to log on for guild events and roam in the evenings. Now my playtime is just pretty much based around when I know the city siege is off cooldown. And yeah, it's definitely a big change in playstyle and approach for some players.
So I will pose this question to Claustro and Bombling. If Nath wants to jump in, feel free. For people who pags and people who can only play 2-3 hours a day will never have full sovereign. I don't understand why the devs are trying to keep this game like they are trying to keep subscriptions from live. It's a private server and they should improve it so people, we have lives, you can still play and gear up. So there's a link from Max. I'm going to click it because I don't know where that leads. Maybe it's an answer to that question.
It's a calculation on tokens.
Okay. So I need to bookmark this for myself then. All right, so you can guys look through the link Max Heyman put there. So we're here. So what do you guys think about what NIF7 says, Bombling, about people not having a lot of time every day? Will they ever get this over instead? From what the situation is right now, how do you see that?
I definitely have guildies who express exactly the same. And even if you're parking or if you're in a guild and if you're organized, whoever you are, you have a certain amount of time you can contribute into this game where you can enjoy it. And this content being so gated behind a massive campaign that kind of goes into a climax where you get into the city and you need to win it. There's so many stars that need to align for you to get this gear. I can see the concern, but I can also see the driving factor the devs might try to put onto the players, where it's like, okay, you guys actually need to put in effort. This is like old school approach. It's not going to be like World of Warcraft where you can get your bonus rolls and kind of get your gear guaranteed. This is going to take effort, and you guys need to put it in the effort and get together as a realm and push.
Okay. Claustro, how do you feel about
I agree. I believe I'm one of those players that will struggle to find this gear. Last week I was off from work due to holidays here, so I could play much more than I actually intended. But in one way, I like that because that makes this game more realistic in the sense that things doesn't just happen for you. You need to work for it, as Bombling express it. And sometimes you set it up for your NA friends to finish it off. Sometimes they set it up for you to finish it off. So it's all good. But I know some players dislike this, and I have seen some good solutions on the forum and the Discord. For example, one of Bombling's seventh friend has an idea that perhaps open up one Altdorf and one IC per week during EU if EU has less cities than NA, so everyone can play the cities at least one time, perhaps 2 times a
that?
week.
You mean like a scenario, so it's open like for 1 hour, join, do it.
Yeah, something like that. So good, so I can coordinate. Yeah, get online this time. We know there's gonna be a siege because the devs gonna open it up, and yeah, one free for the server. But
not a bad idea.
I totally agree if the devs doesn't want it that way, because that also takes away the challenge and the competition that's building the conflict in this game between the two realms.
True. I mean, it could be some people would say, okay, why should I go and bother? I'll just wait for Wednesday that it opens up, or and I'll grind it then. That's also could happen. Okay, I'm just gonna read something for a second. The fort system was awesome. I got fully embedded for 5 months within a working city. Played 3-4 hours a day, but not every day. Yeah, okay, that can work for some people. Okay, so some more changes on the cities. You can no longer attack the lords in preparation stage 2. I think that was a bit of a bug that was exploited. It's a good thing it's done. So the stages can move forward normally. Cannons around the flags that are not open for capture can't be attacked anymore. That was also something that people exploited, destroying the cannons, reducing the defender's ability.
So I think that change came from, for example, if I'm well defending stage 1 and I'm holding, and then the attackers can't get to that BO because we just outmatched them. Some of them would flank around and go to the other BOs that was not open yet and start building contribution, killing those cannons. That's my expectation of where this change is coming
from. Yeah, I mean,
you are correct.
There we go. Reduce health on Loba, Gids, and Cannoneers. I've only done a few cities myself on this one. They did seem to go down very, very slow. I don't know. Bobbling, do you think they should reduce the life? Was that important to be done?
as soon as you lost in Eldorf the North Ducks that would spawn the Lobbergits, and in IC the Outcrop spawning the Cannoneers, I don't think you could actually win the stage because you didn't have enough DPS to kill the NPCs before they would destroy the gate. I don't know how it is now, but it's a very welcome change, because if you lost those two Corbios, it would kind of mean that you lost the stage. So that's a good change in my book.
I'll just add for anyone that doesn't already know this, but it might be obvious to some, I don't know. Those Lobagits and cannons that spawn, they keep spawning, so it's not like they spawn once and you kill them and it's done with. So yeah.
They have a delay, if I remember correctly, before they spawn again.
Correct.
Okay. Close. Yes.
I can see an issue with this. First of all, as Bombling said, if Destro attacks, they would take South Docks and the North Docks. It was an instant win because Order forces were not able to stop the ammunition for going up there, and the what's it called, catapults for dealing damage. Let's say if we attack and we take the South Dock, the North Dock, and we summon the change guy, I can't remember the name of him, there is a lot of change, and Order actually defends this. This means that Order has an advantage because they can build morals on those guys that runs up there, and destruction can't really engage unless we do a flawless fight where we stall it until they lose their morals, or we can build morals on something else. So in that sense, it's actually an issue that we need to work around.
But that was the same before. Lowering or increasing the health doesn't really make any difference to building morale.
But you could just leave them before. You know that these guys gonna kill the door. At the moment, we're not sure if they're gonna do it, and therefore we need to push up to make sure that they actually can destroy the door, and that leaves us to a fight when we have 0 morale and the enemy has morale 4 from the beginning.
I can see where Claustro's concern is coming from. If the health is going to get fine-tuned to a point where if the defenders are standing and doing this last stand and they're just barely killing the NPCs coming in, destroying the gate, but if the attackers are standing at the little funnel at the gate, for example in Altdorf with the little double doors and the little gatehouse,
Yeah.
If Destro is pressuring this point and if Destro is pressuring this point and the Gits don't have enough HP, so Order kind of needs to relocate some manpower to holding both the gate and killing the Gits. It kind of needs to be a balance between, they can't do both, so they need to, I'm not sure if you get what I'm.
Yeah, so if they have a few HP, right, Order has to split to hold Destro at the gates and shoot them. If they have a lot of HP, it's pointless because they're not going to kill them ever, so there's no point shooting them. And it's a guarantee destruction of the gates.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll see how that's going to work out. I'm saying they're still balancing stuff. Yes, Claustro?
I think one strategy would be that Destro just suicide push right before the Lobagits runs in, so Order will focus everything they have on the players, and hopefully the Gits will run through and refill the ammunition.
Well,
it all depends on the health of the.
I think this specific state there is all about allocating resources. I mean, Destro side needs to push, Order needs to defend and kill the Lobas. So there has to be balance. If they had too much HP and it was pointless to leave, let's say, one group shooting them or two, like 50% of your sources there, then why leave them? Now that creates a time limit for the attackers. You have to push in and defend them. We have to split resources. And the balance, I think, may not come from this reduction in health now, but we need to run a few cities and see how that's going to work. It's definitely bringing more tactics into the stage, I think. More of a pressure.
One thing, I don't know if it's possible, but attacking the Lobagit or the catapults doesn't bring you into combat. But I don't know if you actually can code that, but that's one thing. So you can't pre-build morals because it's all about morals. And it's a tiny doorway that destruction needs to push through. And we all know what happens if destruction tries to push through a tiny doorway.
True. We'll see. We'll see. We can speculate a lot right now, but we need to see it in action how that's going to play out. So I'm assuming we will see this issue to the upcoming patches. after
Just
some runs.
a side note here. Since Claustro mentioned that Destruction has the issue of they have to push this double door in the little gate in
Mhm.
the Altdorf Palace last stand, it's the same for Order because
Yeah.
Order is really good at funneling, and Destruction is really good at the placement. And the last stand on IC for Destruction is they have this narrow bridge kind of gap where
Yeah.
there's the abyss on both sides, and Destro have really strong AoE punts and displacements. So it's very scary for Order to push that last stand as well. So fine-tuning the HP on these NPCs is just a very good way to balance this, I think.
Okay. Moving on a little bit. Increase health for Sun Dragon and Lord of Chains. Okay. I also felt they were going down too quickly.
Oh yeah.
And especially if some people start gaining the Sovereign Warlord sets, the DPS will increase. So increasing their HP, I think it was necessary. Increasing health of cannons around objectives. I've never actually tried to kill any, but if they increased it, I'm assuming there was an issue. Maybe they were going down too fast. Don't give me the chance to shoot them.
Yeah, before that, I could one hit one of the cannons, and I'm a wet noodle when it comes to damage.
You mean with your Bloodguard?
Yeah, a sword and board blackguard could one shot the cannons. Now we can't. Not even.
Okay, then definitely needed that one. The range of an event in which you receive contribution has been increased. I think that's also a major change here because we had a lot of people, because the stages require you to sometimes move further to defend, to hold locations. I think people were missing contribution, and that change helps everybody to get contribution without having to fight for specific jobs in the area. Am I getting this right? Claustro?
I have
Go
no
on.
idea. I'm a poor tank.
Right,
I'm
okay.
just holding the line.
I'm just holding the
getting
line.
us contribution.
Okay, Bombling?
So I think this is aimed towards healers standing in max range healing. If all the fighting is happening in like one big ball versus ball, all the tanks and the DPS in that ball will probably get the kill contribution, whereas the poor healers before didn't get contribution, or like snipe engineers or anything from far distance. So I think that's directed towards.
Yeah, so it includes everybody in the fight because yeah, it helps. There is now a 10-minute transition period before cities start in which you will have time to form warbands. You will not be able to queue during this period. Definitely a good addition because people were rushing and we need to get in before the pre-mades and before this and before that, and that gives them a little bit of peace of mind, I think, to get in there.
Yeah, I think this is to help Destro because Destro usually had people not being able to attend Altdorf sieges because there was too many Destro compared to Order instances opening up. So everyone would rush to the gate. So now it's like a more fair race, not people leaving the zone early to go queue.
I see what you mean. Also, that I didn't think about that one, but definitely helps to have a little bit of time to prepare in anything, even in the forts is needed, So it's a good addition.
Yeah, as a warband leader, it removes lots of pressure before the city. Before I used to start a warband slightly before the fort, even though we didn't have all the members inside the fort. So it's kind of hard to push the fort at the same time as you form the warband. So this gives the leader lots of opportunity to play with the setup he wants and get the play he wants.
Mm-hmm. So it has also a community effect rather than just a gameplay effect, which I like. The city refugees camp will now only be spawned once the city seeds is in the startup stage when queue opens. So it doesn't open straight away. Those 10 minutes also you can stay in the cities doing stuff. Guards have returned to the front gates of the city but are removed once the transition period begins. I have no idea what the effect of this is. I don't know if anybody can explain this. Did we have
So
any issues?
outside of the city gates, there are guards. Essentially, once the 10-minute timer starts, the guards are removed.
Do they have a use? I mean, we're like Destro able to get in and we'll put the guards there to stop them, or?
Both sides, yeah.
Ah, okay.
So what sort of level guards are we talking here, Nat? If you can explain that. Is it like just normal guards the attacking players could kill, or is it like one shot?
I'm speaking badass guard.
Okay.
They were the ones which were there before, Max says.
Yeah, so before we added in city sieges, there were actually guards outside all the time.
Okay.
Okay, it's nice to see that these are removed then, because I remember from live when pretty much everyone had the sovereign gear, some of the guilds, instead of going into the instances, they tried to defend the portal where the attackers would queue up and make a last stand there. It turned out to be some epic battles in Ragbolt for Order on Kirknall. So
Okay, so having the guards is a good thingy. City information on the pairing map timers have been fixed. Additionally, we have added more accurate descriptions of what state the city is in. Okay, that's totally informational. I think everybody wants to know what rank we have, when it's going to rank up, what's going to happen. So that's going to help us a lot. And I think it's going to help a lot more the organized guilds to form the war bands, do the timing, prepare and things like that. I don't know if anybody wants to say something about this information, if it's useful for you guys that mainly do war bands. Bombling?
no comment really. It's nice.
Okay. Claustro, if you have any thoughts.
I'm actually quite surprised how well the timer is working. It's accurate compared to other timing things in this game. For example, your play time can be a bit weird from time to time, and getting this on the first attempt is really good. Keep it up.
Okay, so that's the patch notes for the cities there. Max also earlier on linked something for the calculation of the crest. So I'm gonna put it again. If anybody wants to know about the crest, okay, I just copied. Fuck. I think I just copied the whole chat. Haha.
So while Fixer is doing that copy paste from Max earlier, we talked a lot about loot and crest and contribution here, but I would just like to underline how amazing a feeling it has been to do city sieges and just get the fighting in 24 versus 24 instances. It's been so much fun. I haven't enjoyed this server this much as after this content. So it's a big shame that some people don't get to experience it, and that's my biggest concern with it. The loot and all that, yeah, whatever. But people not getting to experience this, I feel sorry for them.
I think people will eventually, because if I've learned anything on this server bumbling is that things change. They adapt to people. So, and we have a tendency, including myself, sometimes we read something and we overreact and we don't give it time to test it, to see how it's going to work and things like that. So I always tell to people on my stream, take a breather, give it a week, and if if you see that it doesn't fit you, it doesn't work, then start doing something. At the first second, we do have a thing to jump the gun sometimes.
Absolutely.
Fortresses, next one. Reduce range of Poison Pot in Rakewold and Fell Landing to cover Lord Room, but not extend much outside of it. Big change, I think. Big game changer. We always had problems with that poison coming outside of the Lord Room. Everybody was screaming about it. So, Claustro, what do you think? You like that now? It's going to be easier for you guys and us, of course, to push through this. Does that give us an advantage somehow?
It's gonna help, of course, but on the other hand, when you saw that you took damage from outside earlier, you knew that the cauldron was active, and you have to wait for it to despawn or kill it at range and then push in. Right now, it might be harder to actually see what's happening inside, but it's a good change.
Can't the cauldron be targeted from the door? Like a tank that holds the line that cannot see it or target it, or?
It can, but it's usually lots and lots of players there as well.
Okay. Bombling, you think good, bad? I mean, you've done a lot of forts.
I think it's good. A cauldron being inside a room and hitting through the walls on the outside just didn't make much logical sense to me. So hitting just
True.
inside the Lord room makes.
Well, I'll see another positive aspect of this, that I feel that this change happened because a lot of people complained, and it looks like the dev team also listens to people, checks things, and when it makes sense, they move forward to correct this and improve the game.
I'll add one tiny thing.
Yes.
Obviously, the range of the poison, it's a circle, so anything inside of the circle will get hit. So in the case of Fell Landing, It's pretty good because that's a circular area where you fight the boss. The Reichwald one is not as circular, it's more a square. So it will actually, since we find it more important to fill up the entire room so nobody's in a corner and is unaffected, it will obviously bleed out a little bit in the
corners.
well, not the corners, the opposite to the corner, the flat parts of the.
I know what you mean. Trying to make a square circle is hard, so some parts will leak out. It's apparent because of the geometry of things.
Makes sense.
Yes.
May I ask you a question, Natherul? It's about the Skaven bomb. Is it the same radius on that as on the cauldrons, or is that one small or bigger?
It's separate.
Okay.
My mustard gas is a special recipe.
Smite here on the chat says fort portals could do nice with a few guards to keep gangers at bay. I'm not sure what portals he means.
I think it was portal to the fort, I guess.
Yeah, I've definitely been part of ganking some players trying to get into the forts. It's just everyone stand there, they're semi-AFK, not panning if there's any incoming. It's a nice big juicy stack of kills.
Okay, sorry,
No, he's talking about the portals at the back side, the ones that links the fortresses together. And because that's also one of the spawn points for the defenders. It's something that we are looking into and should be getting a fix rather soon.
Okay. Because I got confused about what portals we're talking about, but when he said back end, I figured it out, but now stood in, so we're good. It's been looked at, Smite. Another possible fix for adding players to forts not working. Okay, that's a little bit of a technical stuff there. And now we go to abilities. This is something I think we need to talk a little bit and spend at least 5 minutes on it. So besides fixing the tooltip to display things correctly, we go into the engineer and the magus. This is considered to be a nerf. So for the engineer, the pet ability penetrating round no longer stacks, and for the magus, the ability demonic fire no longer stacks. Let's see what Bombling has to say first, and we'll go to Claustro. What do you think about this? Something that was a long time coming.
So first of all, I got a bad result. If I do Rain of Fire and all the Magus pets are automatically hitting me as the first targets, I'm getting debuffed to pretty much no mitigation here. So I can see why this is necessary. I can also see like if the sniper squad is very unhappy if this is a thing they were using. So yeah. I think it was necessary.
Penetrating round removes armor. I don't remember what demonic fire does. Is that a debuff for spirit resist or?
Probably elemental. I would have to look at it.
Okay. Claustro, what do you think about your maguses not being able to stack that ability?
What maguses? Never mind.
That is true. You guys don't have a lot on your warbands. Usually there's only one.
We're looking for one fixes, you know. I haven't experienced this, but I have read about it on the forum and on the bug tracker that they stacked these debuffs and basically gave you no mitigation, and that's not how the game should be. So this is a good fix, even though it won't stop us from using Megasus. Megasus are still very viable in a warband setup if you bring one happy one.
Yeah, I mean, definitely not. We're not going to use in order to stop using Engis, but because I know penetrating around more, it debuffs about 800 to 900 armor. So if you put 10 of them, there's no armor on anything if you can coordinate that. So I don't think it's a nerf because the penetrating round works, okay, as it's meant to be, because that turret specifically is a single target turret. So it works on its target, but being stacked by a lot of people, I think it could be exploited, and I don't consider this a nerf. I consider this to be a balancing act that was necessary a long time ago to happen.
Well, a fix, yeah.
I'll add a little bit to. This was not really much of. From our point, it wasn't really looked at as a nerf or that much of a balance pass. It was mostly a bug fix. If you look at all the other abilities, unless we're talking about some specific cases with morale and tactics, debuffs don't stack like this.
True. Okay, so that's that. So it was good that happened. I think it was a long time coming anyways myself. Moving on, what else we got, guys? We got interface. The pairing map now shows the cities have been updated to remove historic information. Okay. Um, the city activities now show what state the city is in. For example, the city siege queues are open or Aldorf is recovering, cannot be sieged. I think the more information we get about anything in the game is definitely a good thing. The city will now show how long is left for the current city siege state. Also good. People can prepare. People can know what's happening. It declusters the chat a bit as well, to be honest. I know if you find information on your own, you don't need to cluster the chats because a lot of us have one tab and we have pretty much everything there. It helps, I think. The city will now show how long until its rating will increase. I think that is important to know, and also I think people use that information, specifically that information, to prepare to attack maps, to rank up forts and keeps and push, and they make a rough calculation. Okay, if we push this and this, we're gonna make it on time to have this many stars. So I'm gonna start by asking Claustro, do you guys use that information to uh, time your attacks? You know, get an idea of when we're gonna be there.
Mm, perhaps we will. We haven't coordinated that much. I think we had a push on Friday, if I remember correctly, but we didn't have any stars and timers then. I'm not sure we can use it. We're still going to have our events when we have them, and perhaps some random ones. So it will help us during events. It won't help us at all if we don't have events. I guess we're going to go for it anyway.
Okay, that's fair enough. I mean, I personally would say, I play the game if it's there, it's there. Just trying to see if other people thinking differently. Like, okay, you know what? Let's start an hour later because it has 6 hours before it ranks. Something like that. That's the aim of my question. Bombling, what do you think? Order is using this timer to time attacks, or we just do what we do, like Claustro said, and if it happens, it happens.
Well, I'm probably gonna just put myself under the bus here, but yeah, when there's gonna be like Altdorf is gonna be off cooldown in 1 hour, like before this patch, everyone would kind of like try to stall the fight and then relax a little bit after Altdorf was off cooldown. Not everyone,
No.
some people on order, myself included, but yeah. Knowing the timers, I mean, regardless if they are shown in game or if you can time them on Discord or just on your clock or whatever, it's just nice to have.
Okay, so some people will use it and try and push specific hours, and some people won't. Okay, but it's definitely a good thing to have the information. I mean, a lot of people have been arguing for as many years as I play this server, and I play for a lot of years, guys, about how we don't get enough information in a lot of aspects of the game, whether it's forums, there's devs, there's GMs, it's between us, whatever. But now we're seeing more and more on the patch notes, more information are added to help us understand what's happening into the game and all that. We got a few more changes. Gonna run through them. So for posterity, so to speak. So I don't know what that does. Okay, this goes to the bag report. Don't allow items to be used when dead. I don't even know why somebody would use items when they're dead. Warlord and Sovereign Jewelry are restricted to slot 4. What is slot 4, guys? I haven't had time to check that.
So you got 4 dual slots, and that's just gonna be the PvP sets with a dual piece in them, and they will be restricted to only being in slot 4. So that means you can't double dip in like getting both the Invader duel and the Sovereign duel. It's my
Okay. So we have four jewels only goes on the 4th. Okay, so you can have 2 of them.
Is Invader also in slot 4? Or is
not
it only
yet,
the
but
Warlord
according to a comment Grimnir did on the forums, it will eventually get slot 4 also, just not yet.
What it says here, Gravel says that BS change forbidding you to stack Warlord with Sovereign or bonus defense Sovereign Jewel for no logical reason. No logical reason. The only reason I could think of is if it's considered to be overpowering to have those kind of combos. But personally, if I don't have the sets on my character to start playing with them, I can't tell you anything. What do you guys think about gravel, Bombling, since you started?
So I got this set up right now. I got the Sovereign Duel and I got the Invader Duel. So I'm running both right now because both of them are giving me. I'm not on my browser, so I can't see right now, but I think it's 2% strike through on both of them, and like morale gain or AP gain. So it's really good pieces. They're so good that I would actually break up a Genesis set bonuses just to run them as standalone. So they're
Yeah.
that good. So I can see why they would try to limit us to only have one of them at a time.
So you're talking about Sovereign and Invader, but we're talking about not stacking Warlord and Sovereign.
Yeah,
I
it's
think,
just
yeah.
any of the PvP sets are gonna be restricted to slot 4, and then any of the PvE sets with the dual piece will be restricted to slot 3. So you can't get any of these super amazing dual slots and
Right.
stack 2 of the PvP.
Okay. Claustro? Because we interrupted you. I think you wanted to say something on this?
I want to say the same thing as Bombling, but I
Ah.
kind of agree with what Gravel says as well. It would be nice to be able to combine the two sets. I haven't really looked through the stats and what bonus you can get if you do it, but it's one way to play a character, and I don't think we should restrict anyone from doing it unless it tends to be overpowered, I guess.
Okay. Adjusted stats for War Priest and Dog on Warlord and Sovereign set. Okay, they needed to be adjusted apparently. Max, is Lost Veil and Dark Promises gear out soon, or is it a few months away? I don't know. Max is on the stream. I would get Natherul here. I don't know if he can, if he's authorized to answer that.
Well, the general answer to all those questions is we don't give any ETAs. When it's about to be ready, we will tease it on the forums and stuff.
Soon, trademark.
But
Do you mean 2 weeks?
yeah, girl is just trolling a bit. But the dark promise like gear is meant to be for the rank scenario, if I remember. So I'm assuming, and this is Fixer talking, not having any info, it will be the next thing to come out at some point because it was mentioned a lot sooner on previous patch notes. So we'll see how and when. Rasen says more options, more fun. Definitely, Rasen, having more options is more fun, but as long as those options don't make some stuff a little bit overpowering in the game and break it. Quest, arming the militia, different weapons can now be looted from the correct corpses. Emperor mandate. One step of his epic quest has been disabled, has been re-enabled. Gifts from the damned, the level required to start this quest has been reduced and will now receive the quest reward when you turn in the quest and no longer have, when you accept it. Oh, thank God. I had a problem with that one myself. Yeah. When I was doing my Magus Epic Quest, I had a few issues with that one. I had to drop one stage and repick it and then find the NPC because the NPC quest giver wasn't getting highlighted with the icon above his head. And I got lost and I was doing it live and we had more people and we're looking for it. It took us like 2 hours to figure out the whole thing with a reward thingy. And like I said, I always like when the patch notes have a little bit of everything. So after the quest, which is PvE, most of it, we're going back down to RVR again. Address some line of sight issues for the following oils. Oops.
Good.
Oops. I'll tell you why I'm saying oops. It says here Prague, Southern Garrison Outer, Thunder Mountain, Karak Garag Outer, Black Crag, Bad Moon Hole Outer, and Blackfire Pass, Gnobaraz Outer. They say they addressed the issues. I don't know exactly what it's been addressed, but today on Prague, we couldn't shoot the oil. We still had to jump and do dots. Only engineers could shoot it. We were sitting with the gun turret down and the stacks up to get range. So they might need to be looked at again.
Yes, I can't remember who told me this. I think it was Bombling actually. Any such like cases where it's still not working, please make a bug report about it again, and please also define what realm you were sieging as, so I know which to look at specifically. Because when I went in on and addressed them, I only checked where they were set to the random faction it was on my local, but I did fix all of them and it worked perfectly with those. So I'm guessing it's probably the opposite of what I tested.
Maybe, but I did a test today on Prague because we were sieging it as order on the southern garrison, and English cannot shoot it unless you have the turret for the range. You can shoot it. We'll try if anybody, including myself, do the backtrackers. But just since we analyzing the patch notes, it seems like Natherul did some stuff. They need a little bit more work on this. So we'll see if people report it to other stuff as well, other keeps. Before moving on, let me catch up with the chat a little bit. Question for Max and Natherul. I know it's off topic, but will they play Camel on the Chains when it comes out? I don't know if Natherul wants to answer to that one.
I mean, it has absolutely nothing to do with the stream, but sure. No, I won't. I have absolutely no interest in that game.
Okay. I love tower defense, Max replied. Well, this stream is, it's a bit, we're doing this specifically, but sometimes it's nice to crack a smile. Tome of Knowledge, NPCs Forsaking, Acolyte at the Empire PQ, Pete of the Forsaken would no longer wrongly grant the token unlock, a Tale by the Far End's related title. I think that will make Tibdum happy. Then we got some tickets, and that is the whole patch notes. I feel that today was a little bit better than last time. Nath here from the beginning. We got a few more clarifications. Thank you, Natherul, for attending. I don't know, Claustro, you have anything else you would like to add? Maybe we skipped something you feel we should mention to the guys?
No, nothing to add. I can push this for a bit. I want to thank Natherul and the dev team for the City Teachers this week. I have met so many new players, especially from the NA side that I never saw before, that I never played with before, and actually get to lead some of them in warbands. And on the order side, I have met some new warband leaders. Grabwood, for example, I've met him 2 times in the outdoor defense for him and the offense for me, and it was some good fun fights, some new strategies that I haven't seen before that I needed to adapt it to. So I have improved as a leader during this week with City Sieges.
Mm-hmm. Bombling, any last thoughts?
So before diving into shoutouts, I would just like to ask everyone here in the channel, like, how has your week of City Sieges been? Like, have you had any fights that really stood out to you? Have you learned something? Just a general, like, impression. How do you like City Sieges?
Okay, I'll give time to guys to type this a little bit. Gravel says, tell them to remove NPCs in stage 1 city sieges. Heavily favors attackers with morale ready for center point. Anybody get any thoughts on this? Or because I haven't done a lot of cities, so I'm not sure how to reply to this.
My question was also for you guys here on the voice channel, like Fixa and Natherul. Since I've faced Natherul once and Claustro like 3.
You were very rude to me.
Really? Was he rude?
Bombling.
No, I know. I mean, was he rude?
I mean, he completely obliterated me.
Okay. Well, from an order point of view, that feels good. Kills and death row. My cities bombling were okay-ish. I've done some pre-made fights with Thundercats. That went well. I did also some PAG ones just to see how it feels to be on a PAG and how balanced and unbalanced the group can be. I felt the fights were good. We lost stage 1 on the PAG. We won stage 2 with the Lobes. We lost stage 3. It was good. People are trying to coordinate. It gives me the sensation that the server overall, when it comes to the cities at least, they're grouping up. They're working together, even typing without Discord, and it really shows that the cities, despite the bugs, the delays, the bickerness about gear and bags and contribution and all these things that will be fixed in the future, it has united the people within the different realms. I mean, united the Destro people and then united the Order people, creating more what we call the realm pride. And so far, after playing this game for 4.5 years, I have to say, everybody knows I love scenarios a lot. I farm them like hell. I play them all day. The city Sieges fights is the best thing I have experienced so far. Leaving aside how long it can take to get to one, whatever, when you get in there, it's fucking brilliant, man. If they brought it out as a scenario, I would only queue City Sieges fights. End the story for me. Trying to catch up with the chat again. People typing quite a few things there. If anybody reads anything, won't jump in, just jump in because I'm not a fast reader.
Well,
yes?
I have had lots of good fights, but I have some bad sieges as well, where people are abusing different mechanics to stay in combat for unlimited of time. So as attacker, you can't do anything because you run into defenders with more 4-up, and those things needs to be addressed immediately. I want to speak about it more here to deliver how to do it, but it's not good at all.
We are aware and we are looking into that.
Okay. Hold on, because Gravel there is putting a lot of stuff. Damage between stages could be capped to 2 minutes. Stop. Stage 3 preparation phase needs champion assigned earlier, not 30 seconds before it starts, and then people panically try to swap. Okay, that with the champions, yeah, I might agree a little bit, but I think 30 seconds is enough as long as you pay attention to what you're doing, and you don't daydreaming.
So as for the preparation in from stage 2 to stage 3, it does basically nothing you do for the first 2.5 minutes of the 3-minute total preparation time. And then when there's 30 seconds left, you get your champions assigned. And then you have to sort the parties because you pull the champions out to put them into their own party because of how the champion mechanics works. Like the healer champion is healing more on the champion players, and the normal healers will not heal as much on the champions. So you need to make a champion party and then fill the groups so you don't have like 5 different groups with like not full parties. So you want to make 2-2 groups. Having all of this preparation time where you just stand around and wait, and then suddenly you have to stress for 30 seconds is kind of a big issue. Also because there is a little bit of a UI bug where some players don't, even if after they reload UI, they can't seem to open the scenario party. So there's a little bit of stress there. If you have someone in one of the groups who cannot swap, you need to swap the entire group over to him. So
I'll get the thoughts of Claustro as well. Just going to say about the scenario party, there might be something people can do about that. I mean, it might not be widely known, but there should be something. After my experience with Saul, you can make a little macro to fix that until they fix it. Some sort of a slash script thingy that might help if we had it to show to people until it's fixed from the devs. So, Claustro, what do you think about the 30 seconds on stage 3 with the champions? Is the time enough? How does it feel on your warband?
It's not enough. We have had the same problem as Bombling described. Some people can't swap groups. We have even been rushed one time, so they run straight over to us while we fix the groups, and we get cornered, and we lost that stage in 10 seconds, 20 seconds. I'm actually at the moment looking for a hotkey for a scenario party, but I can't find it. There might not be one, but I suggest if there's one, just bind it to a key you don't use, and hopefully when you get to stage 3, press that key, or if you get to the city stage, press that key and pop up the scenario party window.
To make it quicker.
I think you can key bind it, but you can only see that option in key bindings when the key should be available. So when you're in a scenario, something like that, it's a little weird.
Okay, so Bombling linked, not linked typed the script. You can do that on a macro to bring up your scenario group window and fix it if it bugs out. Also, Gravel mentioned something else here that I would like your opinion on this. The highest renown off the top is unfair for champs. Back on live, only 70 plus renown had fair chance. That's a better system than guaranteed champ. So we all have different renowns. So what do you think, Bombling, about this one? Should only the 80 plus be considered for champions, or the highest renown, or there should be some sort of a contribution system that makes you a champion into those scenarios in the cities?
It's a tough one because renown is not everything, but it's a really good indicator for how well equipped and who's probably going to be the best sort of champion. So unless there is a voting system, and then we probably need like more than 3 minutes, and there could be a lot of UI bugs with that. Unless it's going to be tied to like top kills and top contribution for the DPS roles, and then I don't even know how they would calculate who's going to be the tank, and top healing would probably be easy, but I don't know. I personally like top renown, but having it as the only contributing factor is maybe too strict.
Mm-hmm. Claustro, what do you think about that morale thingy in the champions?
We have some problems with getting like DPS tanks as champions. I don't have a solution for it. It seems to be kind of random. So I let the devs try to fix what they can. I have no word in it. I play for as long as we have the chance.
Okay. I don't know if Nath can shed some light on this, if possible.
You mean on the selection of champs?
Yeah, I mean, the question is why only the highest renown, and on live was 70 plus. Why not use that system? I don't know. I mean, I'm not the highest renown on the engines that want to play, but people, Claustro and Bombling said that it's an easy way of picking out highest renown, better player, and we don't know any other mechanism to pick them ourselves. So I don't know. Is there a reason? Can that be corrected so more people are included? And I don't know how much you can divulge, so I don't know.
Well, I'll say that first of all, when it was discussed and implemented, the way that I remember it is that it was strictly speaking the highest renown, but I might have been wrong. I do not know. It just very much seemed to be that way. It also, in my humble opinion at least, it is the only factor that makes the most sense. It gets really messy trying to figure out, like, especially for tank roles, what to look at if it's not just like renown.
True. I mean, it is. It's fast and it's clean.
So as for the arts types for the champions, since we're on this topic, since it's going to be one tank, one healer, and 2 DPS, can we make it like just like in Calidor Woods, I guess, so it can never be a DPS tank taking one of the DPS roles? Because I don't think they can output just as much as like any top DPS would, like a real DPS. So
well,
maybe even make it like one of each arts type, so it's going to be one range DPS and one melee DPS, unless there's not one melee DPS or not one range DPS.
I'm sorry, but I'm gonna be mean on this topic. Well,
Okay.
if we don't want DPS tanks to get a DPS slot, put them with a fucking shield. I'm sorry saying it this way, but I always felt tanks, shield, period. So if they come in and deal damage, then it's the side's fault for accepting them with a two-hander and the dealing damage. So if they're dealing more damage or they're higher renown, then, well, sorry. I'm really vertical on that. I may sound like a prick, but you can be a DPS and a tank at the same time. Only when they are defensively spec Rusent. And most of them, trust me, they're not. There are very few that run it like that.
I ran in like a DPS for one City Warband, and I tested a swap to shield before City Siege. For the stage 3, and I didn't get placed as a tank. I was still DPS. So I guess that's both good and bad.
Yeah, but I mean, sorry, Bombling, just a second. So, do they meant to? I mean, if a tank is a two-hander and his spec on the paths are on the DPS path, he should be considered a DPS, right?
Yeah.
So if that guy's high renown, he will still a position of a DPS. So it makes sense, doesn't it?
Yes and no. In the case of building an order warband, if you want an AoE wounds debuff, you need the two-handed tanks because of the two-handed requirement. So even if that tank is speccing like high parry and depth defender and few shot strikes and going tanky, he will still maybe be considered by the system as a DPS. And if he by any chance is higher renown, he will maybe get the champion role instead of a pure DPS. And that's my only issue in that case.
Gravel also says there's no use of a defensive tank champ. Champs can guard or be guarded. Okay. I didn't know that they can guard or be guarded, but still, I mean, if a 200 is classed as a DPS, of course it will take the thing of a DPS. I don't see a way around it myself. Anyways, at least we raised the issue, and that's something that might that's something like for the devs to consider how they're gonna play around that one. I personally gave up on balancing months ago. I've officially in live said that. So one last thing, I think that we need to discuss just for breaking the whole seriousness of everything we did here, because we covered all the patch notes to a decent extent, I think. How many of you enjoy it? Sunday with naked people and orcs and trains and ships howling to your ears. Guys, anybody? Did you like it? I had a lot of fun with it.
I logged in right in the middle of it. I have no idea what happened, and I saw naked people, and I thought, okay, this is weird. And then I saw the restart message, and then, okay, yeah, something is totally wrong.
Oh, you missed a lot of stuff because people were running around naked without armor. Turrets was looking like marauders and pets like marauders around. And also, as you were playing, you would hear black orcs and squiggies talking, sorry, and gobos laughing and talking to you, train sounds going by. It was an insane thing. People thought we were going insane, really. It was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun. Bombling, did you find it annoying, funny? What do you think?
I wasn't personally on. I was
Oh,
looking at Twitch on my phone in my bed, and I think it was Sabik's stream I was watching, and every dwarf was just running around like they were ready to fist fight,
yeah, yeah.
and it just looked amazing. I just think it's a perfect event for next time.
The funniest thing is playing a dwarf anywhere on the map, and all of a sudden you hear the black orc say, "Get the studies!" from nowhere. Sounds were coming from everywhere. It was fun. I don't know why the sounds came up. We had the theory about the naked people because the lag was a lot. We assumed that they removed intentionally the armor, so it wasn't loading with all the people just to decompress the system. That's the theory we had. But we don't know how the sounds came about. But I personally found it quite funny.
No, it's just something that broke.
Okay. Well, we had the theory, you know. We players like to theorize what happens behind the scenes.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And we
I
thought,
mean, if you want a theory, I mean, anyone who's been in my guild when I first added the talk unlocks for like naked fighting and stuff, you could consider it be a request from my side for having more naked warband.
Turkey says, break it again. It was fun. All right, that's all the time we had for today, guys. I hope you found this useful and enjoyable. So don't go yet. We have a few things to say to you. First of all, we'd like to thank Natherul, the dev team, for participating in this, let me say, talk show. It's the real talk. It's a realm talk. Also, a big shout out to Claustro and the PMP Guild for participating, giving us the perspective of the Dastro realm. And of course, Bombling from the 7th Legion Order for their perspective on matters ongoing. Again, to the dev team for being here and clarifying things between us. Also, would like to thank every single one of you who stayed here and participated on the chat and you watched this. I hope you find it useful, entertaining, interesting, and in my opinion, hopefully we've answered a couple of your questions you might have, things you didn't understand, things you weren't sure how they work. And always, you have any questions, something you don't understand, this is a good opportunity to participate and ask, because we have experienced players on comms, we have someone from the dev team. Hopefully we'll have them on every stream if possible. They have a busy schedule. So use this installment of the stream to find out what you need. Like people did about gear, about this, about that. If devs can answer, they will answer. And I think this is a way of improving communication that we all needed and wanted for a very long time. A big shout out to the private server in general. If someone is new, just join us. Join the war, guys. Get to 3ws.returnofragnar.com and get the game. It's getting better and better by the day. So big thank you to everybody. Thank you, Claustro. Thank you, Bombling. Thank you, Natherul. We have reached the end of the stream. If anybody wants to say anything to the people, this is the time, guys, on comms. Anybody? No, don't even want to say goodnight?
I've done my shout out to all the
Yeah.
NA players I met. So I passed over to Bombling to say a few.
Well, this week I'm just gonna shout out any warband leader, even if you're just a puck, if you're pre-made, if you're guild only, any warband leader. It's a very unthankful and unforgiving job. So even if you guys make mistakes, you guys are the one keeping the show going. So shout out to all the warband leaders.
Okay, I don't know if Nath has anything last to say for the stream for tonight.
Yeah, sure. Thank you all so much for watching, and I urge you all, if you find any bugs, like for example the whole thing with keep oils still being unable to be shot at reasonably well, please do make bug reports and do not post it on the forum. We cannot track anything properly on the forum. Please use the bug tracker.